Hey, welcome friends. Namaste. Hello. Here we be. Date 31st of March, last day of March here in New Zealand, 2021. Believe it or not, still feels a little bit like 2020. But here we are. It is Chat with Matt, not Drops of Light. It's Chat with Matt. Half an hour to chat about whatever's going on for you in your world. How can we help you? I'm just trying to get my Facebook open here on this here computer so I can check if I've got anything to talk about. Oh no, I do remember because I checked inside the house, didn't I? And there was nothing. So, but I think it was two comments. One is this recorded, and that's an easy answer. Hey, Sister Jane. And the other one was time flies. Basically, oh my God, chat with Matt again. That means the whole week's gone since the last chat with Matt, which was only a week ago. It's happening quickly. So, could talk about time and the illusion of time. Someone asked a question from last week. Karma, was it? Did someone put a comment on last week's thing? Hey, can you talk more about karma? I can't remember, but as soon as I've remembered that far, let's go there, shall we? Mantara's view on karma. So, I've got an itchy nose, so just excuse me if I do sneeze all of a sudden. Feels like I might. But, just to warn you, communication is everything, and managing expectations is important. So, I've got new glasses, and the screen is remarkably clear on my phone. How far away is that? Yeah. So that's good. So, a little bit distracting actually, because it's like, oh, everything's so clear. Karma. Let's talk a little bit about karma. If you have any questions, if you've jumped on this and you want to ask me something, then type it in. And I'm happy to keep bouncing around and answering as much as we can. But karma, the topic of karma is an interesting one because many people get quite a fear-based, contracted viewpoint on this thing called karma, like it's some sort of punishment from the universe for doing the quote-unquote wrong thing. And in my opinion, in Mantara's opinion, there is no wrong thing to do. There's things that you can do that aren't really aligned with you. There's things that you can do that don't really benefit you. But there's no absolute judgment that it's wrong or right. Hey, Sister Debbie, how are you? It's no absolute judgment by God, source, universe. There's no big book of karma, in my opinion, that say, oh, that's a bad point. That means you're going to have to pay something off. Instead, karma is basically the collective residue of all of your past. So if you've done things in the past that you're guilty about, no doubt you will punish yourself for that, right? You will attract what you energetically hold, right? The residue of that guilt will be attracting things to you. And so that's basically how karma works. It is just that natural, energetic, reaction to the vibrations that you are holding from your past. So, and it works quite well, and it works very well, and it helps us to evolve. So, hopefully that helps. I don't know what else to say about that. I could definitely dig into it a bit more, because I know some of you will be going, yeah, but what about the person who does this and that? The truth is, if they're not feeling guilty about it, it's no big deal. Because let's just look at it another way. Everything is relative, right? Right and wrong is relative, and alignment is relative to who we're aligning with. So you could say, well, killing someone is not aligned. Well, it is aligned with dark beings. They have no problem in taking a life. Are they wrong for that? No, they're not. They're not wrong. It's the dark path is just as valid as the light path. It's just different. So it's just different. And then you could say, well, is it right? Is killing someone right or wrong? And you could have definite viewpoints on that. And then you could say, well, is it right or wrong for someone to kill someone if they have to, right? Because if they were going to be killed first, and is that really a mitigating factor? And then we can start looking at, well, what about people who have pledged their allegiance to an army and they go in and they kill people, and sometimes they don't have to kill the people, right? Sometimes they're not threatened by the people, but they kill them anyway because that's the game, right? It's a game of war, and so but we don't expect that those soldiers have karma, right? You know, we wouldn't think that they've done the wrong thing because they were employed by an army to go and do that. Many of them have huge amounts of guilt around what they've seen and what they've done, unfortunately, and many of them do suffer quite greatly for you know, getting involved in that. And many of us have done so in past. Like, I know I still have quite a bit of stuff around you know, being contracted into armies of sorts, and most of these are quite old, because I don't think I've been here for a while on this planet, at least 400 or 500 years. My personal opinion on my, you know, my awareness of my past, my recent past, is the last time I was here was around 1600 and something. So just as an aside, just to get some cogs turning, just to maybe open another bucket of worms that someone goes, oh my God. But, oh, my nose is still really itchy. I like to think that means I'm coming into money, but I know it doesn't. That's supposed to be your palm, right? I keep thinking that when I have an itchy nose. Oh, I must be coming into money. So, yeah. So, hopefully that's helping. I can't even remember who asked for clarification on karma, but there it is. Anything else, my friends? What else? Come on, you're being very, very quiet this morning. Or maybe I'm not actually seeing comments. Oh no, I did see Debbie's comment, which says Happy Wednesday. And it is Wednesday, and I am happy. So, I did a little live stream from the top of the hill yesterday. That was good. It was good to get up and walk up that hill. I hadn't done it for a while, and I certainly got a sweat up, and that felt good. I didn't do a bad time. It was 25 minutes, which is okay. Usually I consider anything under 24 a good time. So it was a bit slower, but considering it was a little bit damp underfoot and I hadn't done it in months, and well, I had done it. I did it once, but before I went to this last retreat. So anyway, Sheena, I am super excited to share that I have a new grandson. Awesome. Well done. That's exciting. That is exciting, sister. Very, very happy for your happiness and the joy that will no doubt bring you. And I'm not sure, a new grandson I'm not sure if that's your first grandson or grandchild, which would be a very big deal and something I'm kind of looking forward to in a way, although I'm not sort of pushing my kids into it just yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to grandchildren. Definitely. So yeah, excited for you, and holding support for parents as well, which I can still remember was not an easy time, not a particularly easy time. I think it's much easier for grandparents. What else, friends? How else can I? What else can I illuminate? Talk about? Trigger, perhaps. Second grandchild. Awesome, Sheena. Lovely. Love that. Awesome to collect grandchildren. Collect them up like little possessions. No, but they're little sparks of joy in our life, aren't they? You know, babies are great for, you know, so many reasons, except if you're having to get up in the night consistently to look after them, they're fantastic. They're fantastic. Yeah, so I climbed to the top of my hill. I can reiterate a little bit of what I put in there, I guess. It was only a 2-minute live stream, but I was just talking about how I'd come to the realization around being very powerful with what mantra I was repeating. I use the mantra, you know, what I'm feeling is what I'm releasing, quite a lot. When I was climbing my hill, and I get in this breathing rhythm which helps me go, right, this momentum, this thing where I breathe and I walk and I breathe and I walk, and it's friggin' hard work, and I've got my arms going as well because I'm using poles to walk up this hill quite fast. I was saying expand and release as I was breathing, expand on the inhale, release on the exhale, but I chose to change it. Well, I'm always changing things. I'm always experimenting, and I was saying, instead of expand and release, I was saying empowered and freedom, right? Because I use this term empowered freedom a lot. So empowered as I was inhaling, freedom as I was exhaling, and feeling the difference while reminding myself of the fact that I am releasing a lot of the discordance that I'm feeling in the moment that I'm suffering is great, right? It's great to say release when you're in the moment of feeling the discordance. But if you're not in that moment of feeling all of the discordance, hey, good morning, Erina. It's great. I think it's better to focus on where you're choosing to go. So for me, that was about choosing to go into freedom rather than to go into release, right? Empowered is a great word. Expansion is a great word as well, right? You can't really go wrong with reminding yourself that you're expanding as you inhale. But the point is I could change my mantra a little bit from expansion and release to empowered freedom. I can just feel the difference. It's a much more empowered space to be in, where I'm concentrating on the freedom rather than concentrating on the process of release. And that's not to say that saying release is a bad thing, because I think it is a really good thing, especially when you're, as I said, especially when you're in the contraction of the discomfort of whatever that might be, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, external or internal, doesn't really matter. But if you keep reminding yourself, this is what I'm releasing, I'm just releasing this, not from a space of desperation that I want to release, I must release, I hope I release, but from an empowered point of view is I am releasing this. This is releasing. This is the process of releasing. It feels really uncomfortable, and I can't actually notice that it is releasing. It's a little bit like watching grass grow. You know the grass is growing, but you can't see it happening. And it's the same when I'm reminding myself that what I'm feeling is what I'm releasing. I'm not expecting to feel a big energetic release in the moment, although sometimes it does happen, but more often than not it doesn't, and I just have to relax into acceptance that the releasing process takes time. It's still valuable for me to remind myself that what I'm feeling is what I'm releasing, and therefore I don't need to fix it. I don't need to validate it, and I don't need to understand it, because it's going. Why bother understanding something that you're about to release? It's just crazy, right? So I don't need to waste time on analyzing the discordance that I'm feeling and try to work out how it was created, why it was created, what I should do to release it. I don't need to know. I trust the process. So that's great. But when I'm just doing something like walking up the hill, when I'm just doing something to bring myself into a state of empowerment, saying release is not the greatest thing to do, in my opinion, because it's basically just reminding yourself that discomfort is just around the corner. Which is probably the truth, right? You could say, well, you're managing expectations, but we don't need to suffer through our releases, and we don't need to, we don't need to worry about risking the disappointment that expanding into a more happy state is going to necessarily trigger a release of some description, although more often than not it does. More often than not it does. Does that help? What I want to do, I want to refresh this page and just make sure I'm not missing any comments as they come up on the screen in the Bright Light Beings group. And that's interesting that came to the top. Hang on. Didn't do a very good job of that. Hit the home button will work better. Anything else, friends? This kind of works best when it's interactive, because while I can be inspired to talk about stuff, I tend to prefer to talk about stuff that people have directly asked for. Deb said, I've got no questions. I love your empowered freedom mantra. Can you speak more about that? Well, I kind of did while you were asking, I think. So that's good. It's always good that we're in sync, Debbie. I think you were asking that as I was already answering it. So that's good. You're welcome. Great. Shauna. Hi, Matt. I'm noticing lately that when I'm going to read it down here, come up with a bright idea of some sort and the energy feels joyful. Everything's happening now. I feel immediately tired afterwards and end up not being able to stay in that flow, often going into other things that are more distractions. I am imagining a bit of self-sabotage or resistance coming up, but any suggestions on how to move through that pattern would be appreciated. Well, great questions, Sister Shauna. So first and foremost, the awareness that that's what's happening. I'll get to that, Sheena. How do you help her? You are helping her first and foremost. I might answer that just quickly first. So, because it's a quick answer. Oh, Jesus, everything's coming at once now. That's what happens. She's full of fear and anxiety. So I have a friend who notices how much I have grown in my joy and peace. So just share with her what you are doing to grow in your joy and peace. That's basically how you help a friend who, you know, is full of fear and anxiety. Just remind her subtly, without trying to teach her anything, and not trying to point out that she is full of fear and anxiety. Just talk about yourself. So when I'm dealing with, quite often when I'm dealing with people who I notice are suffering a lot, I talk about not that they're suffering and this is how to fix your suffering, right? Because that just creates more contraction around them, that they've been called out for not being good enough, right? Not being right, not being proper. But, you know, just allude to the fact of what you are doing, the simple things that you are doing, the perspectives that you are taking on the world that is leading to your joy and peace, right? And just remind her that she can do the same without having to actually sort of, you know, make it very obvious and clear and pointing out that somehow that, you know, that she's wrong for being anxious and fearful. Okay, so coming back to Shauna's question, which I've lost and now forgotten, so I'll just I just have to click on here. Bear with me for a sec. Okay, got it. See more. Okay, so you have a great idea. You expand into that. You feel your vibration grow, and it's exciting. And then that necessarily triggers, that lift in your own vibration necessarily triggers a release of the energies that you're carrying from the past that want to protect you from taking a risk, that want to protect you from stepping out into your light, that want to protect you from being noticed as someone who is not just staying meek and mild and small, right? There might also be energies in there that want to protect you from the potential disappointment that if you step into a bright idea that it might not work out, and that might lead to you feeling deflated or defeated or like a failure. So it's better to not try than to try something and then fail, right? There's a lot of that energy, and it's very, very common, and you're not wrong for having that. That's just been we've just been sort of programmed into that or led into that through a very difficult past over the last few thousand years here on this planet of being persecuted and downtrodden and controlled in a lot of ways. So to step out of yourself into what your soul is basically, you know, inspiring you towards, right? What your soul is inviting you into, and it feels expansive and it feels exciting, and yet at the same time, whenever you think about doing it, you feel tired or you feel that you lose your energy, which is basically the density that's being triggered arising to the surface. So this term self-sabotage is a slippery term. It's a loaded term, a charged term, because when people hear it, it sounds like they're deliberately doing something to keep them sabotage, to keep them small, and it's not the case, right? Self-sabotage is talking about subconscious energies in your field that get triggered when you attempt to or choose to or contemplate doing something that is out of your normal, something that is exciting, something that is joyful, something that is aligned with who you be. Then these energies arise naturally to protest, and you can't really control that. You can't suppress those energies that are coming up to protest, because they're coming up to basically, it's an opportunity to release them. But the process forward is to recognize this process and not to fight it and not to make yourself wrong and not say, oh my God, I'm self-sabotaging again. But to go, great, I've got an opportunity now to step past these resistances. So it comes up, you feel tired, you naturally want to do something distractive that feels more comfortable. You're more confident to do something that doesn't have nearly as big a potential outcome, that doesn't feel as nearly as exciting, that doesn't feel nearly as expansive. So therefore it feels more safe. So without torturing yourself, noticing that process, you then go, what little steps can I take towards that big dream? Right? I can feel the drain on myself. I know that this is triggering. I know that I don't feel safe in doing this. And I'm holding myself in compassion right now as I choose to do a little bit towards that, not necessarily setting the bar so high, going, you know what, I'm just going to do it this time and it's going to be easy. It's unlikely to be easy. And it's quite possible that you won't actually succeed in doing it the first time, the second time, the third time, or even the fifth time. But eventually you will chip away at or erode the resistance that's keeping you out of doing it. And so when you get a bright idea and the opportunity seems there, it's to recognize that immediately you feel the drain, which is not wrong, and that you can actually step towards it and embrace that process in a more empowered way, to keep reminding yourself, this drain that I'm feeling is what I'm releasing, this density that's arising, this fear or this sabotage energy is what I'm releasing. My soul is dragging me forward, inviting me forward, enticing me forward into being a more expansive expression of myself here on this planet. Right now I have an opportunity to do that. Am I willing to step past some discomfort to try to do it, to attempt to do it, to make inroads towards doing it, or not, right? Am I just going to give up so easily? And it's not to make yourself wrong if you do end up giving up. It's just to recognize that there is a process proceeding, right? This process is proceeding, and you will keep getting more and more inspirations to do expansive things, and you will keep getting the opportunity to step past your discomfort. That's the thing. You can't, it's important to let go of the idea that this is your one opportunity, and if you mess this up, then you won't get another one, and therefore you almost don't want to take this opportunity because you don't feel ready, right? It's like you'll never feel ready, and there's never just one opportunity, and if you mess this opportunity up, the actual attempt at moving forward will serve you well, because it'll make it easier next time you get the opportunity. So it's not that we should just wait for the easy shot and then take it and then feel really satisfied that we succeeded. We must be willing to step forward into any opportunity we get. I was almost going to say every, but that's too high a bar. Into any opportunity we get, it's beneficial to step forward into taking attempts at achieving that, even though the odds might be stacked against us at first, because every time we make an attempt, we actually reinforce the fact that we are up to the game. We are choosing to step forward into this, and that will keep eroding away the resistance that says stay small and stay safe. And every time you attempt to step forward, you will get closer to achieving those outcomes. It's important to be willing to fail. It really is. If we just want to try things that we feel confident that we can succeed at because we're scared of the failure experience, then we're not going to be very successful on this planet. All successful people, whether they're businessmen, sportsmen, entertainers, spiritual beings, whatever, all successful people are successful because they consistently fail. They not only risk failure, they actually have failure experiences time and time and time and time and time again, right? But they keep stepping up to the plate. Life is a practice. Like, you can see this in sportsmen, right? They just keep practicing. And of course, they keep practicing to try and do things that are harder and harder to do. And of course, the majority of their practice is about failing to do something that is extraordinary, right? Soccer players keep, attempting to kick it right into the freaking corner of the goalpost. You know how many attempts they've had at doing that and how many times they've missed, failed, bounced off, right? Thousands and thousands of times. But slowly but surely they get better, and the probability that they succeed gets higher and higher. And so they become a great person at doing that, which makes them a great sportsman in their particular chosen field. Same with a great musician who tries and tries and tries to get the intricacies of playing certain complex, whatever we call those things, scores, right? Arrangements. How many times did they hit the wrong note? But they didn't feel deflated or defeated every time they failed. They just keep trying. And eventually they get better and better and better at doing it. And their overall playing improves and their overall confidence improves. So this is it. Every time you attempt to do something that's not going to be easy for you to achieve, you improve your confidence, and that ripples through the entire of your life. It's not just about practicing so that you achieve that certain thing, so then you can have the satisfaction of, I can do that certain thing now. It's in practicing that certain thing that you actually improve your ability to do lots of things, and your overall confidence in yourself and your overall relationship with failure improves, which is also really important for living this life comfortably. That you can go, oh yeah, I missed that. I failed that. That didn't work out, right? My partner didn't quite understand me then. That's ended in a disagreement, right? Even though I was trying to be more open, more vulnerable, right? These things are practices. We can't expect to just step into being more open and vulnerable and have it go well, because if we haven't practiced it and if our partner's not used to it, then likely at first it gets taken slightly in the wrong way, and it's not quite as satisfying as we might like. But we know, we have a feeling deep in our heart that we want to be more vulnerable, we want to be more intimate, right? We want to be more connected. And so that takes, and it's not just about, our significant partners. This is about friendships. This is about our boss. This is about working with our colleagues. This is about working with our customers. We want to have more in this relationship. And so we're choosing to step towards that, knowing that at first it might not be so successful. We might have to backtrack. We might have to, because until we've practiced it, we don't have a great track record to know that it's going to work. And at first there's going to be discordances there that we need to iron out. We need to release. If you're asking for more money, for example, as a facilitator or as a business person or as a heart-centered service provider in anything, right? You're worth more, but now you have to start asking for more money because your clientele is used to you pay, only charging a certain amount. Then at first it's going to be really hard to ask for more money. And at first some of your clients are going to, question you about, oh, how come your rates are going up? And that's going to feel like a direct attack, right? But they're not, that's a normal part of the process. And this is giving you the opportunity to practice saying, hey, well, I really feel my services are worth this now. When you can willing to say that, right, to your client, then you are basically owning your self-worth in a much, much bigger way, right? And so a lot of people want to avoid having to say that. And so they're trying to work out how they can increase their prices so that no one challenges them on it. And that's not the point, right? It's not about getting more money. It's about claiming your self-worth. You have to understand that the benefit in taking a lot of these expansive steps forward is not the outcome, it's the process of stepping through the process of expansion. That's where the benefit is, that's where the growth is, that's where your joy is in achieving your ability to expand your ceilings, expand your thresholds, move into new areas, claim your expansive nature. So it's not so much the outcome that's important, it's the fact that you are willing to get on the horse again and again and again and step through the process of expansion, because as you keep practicing that, you get better at doing that. And that is what makes you successful and joyful and feel much more purposeful in yourself, right? To keep choosing to expand, to keep choosing to grow, to never sit on your hands and think, well, I'm pretty comfortable where I am. If it's ain't broken, don't fix it sort of mentality. And so, of course, there's a line there. I always talk about, are you satisfied where you are? Can you be satisfied where you are? Because it's important to be satisfied where you are. It's important to be happy where you are. It's important that we're not needing expansion in order for us to find the next level of happiness because we're not satisfied where we are. That's a fear-based reason for stepping forward. We're wanting to look for a loved-based reason to step forward, that we're satisfied where we are, but we know we can be more in the next moment. We can know we're going to feel more joy at stepping into a greater expression or of expansive self. So did that answer the question? I know I went off on one then, but that's what happens. That's why I love questions, because they trigger an expression. So when it comes down to it, I'm just going to summarize the question. So I'm going to get to the end. But any suggestions on how to move through that pattern would be appreciated. So first of all, maintain your awareness that it is a pattern. And it's all centered around fear and trying to stay safe. And second, allow yourself to find the motivation to step through it from love rather than fear. So that you don't need to achieve these things in order to make yourself good, right, and proper, but there is joy in stepping in entering into the process rather than just achieving the outcome. It's stepping into the process is where the joy is. And so that you don't need to contract around the idea that you should succeed in order to validate your effort. Your effort is validated based on the fact that you took the effort, not on the fact of whether you succeeded or failed in achieving the outcome. So that's important, because that'll take a lot of pressure off when you do choose to step forward that you are supposed to succeed, otherwise you are a failure. Let go of these titles, these labels, and allow yourself to just engage in life. You have an opportunity. It's an opportunity to step forward, and in stepping forward is the joy, is the outcome, is the success. Just in the fact that you chose to step forward is a success. You don't need to worry about whether you achieve the ultimate outcome or not. Although over time, of course, you will more likely achieve those outcomes. But we always keep lifting the bar, right? We always, as I was saying, the sportsmen, once they've mastered kicking into some sort of area, then they try to do it, left with the other foot, right? Then they're always trying to lift the bar, because they really enjoy the challenge of testing themselves, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, friends. Just noticed I don't like the lighting. I'm looking far too bleached out. But anyway, I didn't pull the curtains. Never mind. Not much to do about it now. Did I get there? I don't think I've... Okay, great. I'm glad you loved learning that I haven't been here from the 1600s. I don't really have proof of that. That's just my feeling, right? I haven't actually... I haven't got a written document to prove, that. It's quite like, I really miss some good times. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. To be, in my understanding, I really didn't want to come back this time either. Those, I've been highly resistant to coming back to Earth for some time, because those times through the friggin', the dark ages weren't so great. Especially, it weren't so great for me anyway. Anyway, so I've been kind of holding off, and I had my arm a little bit twisted into coming back here this time. But anyway, here we are making the most of it. Just knocked that chip off my shoulder. That's it, my friends. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. That was Chat with Matt for today. I'll be back again next weekend. Have a great Easter. It's Easter coming up, right? So it's Wednesday here, Tuesday's in America. But anyway, yeah, this Friday's Good Friday. So it's a great time to think about rebirth. It's a great time to think about re-emergence. It's a great time to think about re-embracing yourself, right? Letting go of what doesn't serve you, allowing death to take what doesn't serve you. Yeah, totally understand that, Deb, the resistance of being on planet Earth. But it's exciting, right? And it's a process, and we're not here to win. We're here to have an experience that's beneficial to us. So, yeah, it's a great time to dig a little bit deeper into your relationship with Jesus if you have one, or even if you don't have one. It might be a nice time to, not necessarily reading the Bible. That's not, and I'm not saying that reading the Bible's wrong, but that's not the only way to have a relationship with Jesus, or any other master for that matter, right? Many masters have documented works left behind. And of course, if you're, not into Christianity at all, have a happy holiday anyway. It's basically, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's this spring celebration, right? This is a fertility festival. That's what it was originally before Christianity took it over. So yeah, it's a time to think about new birth and planting new seeds and moving into cultivating your dreams. So that's it, and that requires a period. Like in the story of Jesus, the period of death, right? 3 days in the tomb, is a valid experience. So, because sometimes we need that to let go of an old form of being so that we can emerge into a new form of being. Jesus left behind his physical flesh in many ways and re-emerged as a light being, which was, capable of being seen and felt, and yet was also capable of much, much more than he was capable of when he was still limited by the biology. But anyway, don't need to go too much into that right now. This lighting's really annoying me. I look like an alien. So anyway, much love. Enjoy your Easter, your holiday, whatever you've got. You know, at the very worst, it might be a couple of days off work. If that's all it means to you, then enjoy that. I'll be back next week. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns in the meantime, reach out. If you missed the full moon call from a couple of days ago, it was like 2 days ago, 48 hours. The above or below this in the feed will be no doubt a invitation to that, and you can click on that and listen to that at any time. It's there for you. Much love. Bye for now. Thanks, Michelle. Bye. How do I finish?